Welcome back to Introduction to Engineering Design. This is Module 7.5, and in this module what we're going to do is take the models that we assembled back in 7.4. We made the T9 Automoblux car, and what we're going to do is we're going to take that car model and we're going to go produce several drawings from the model. So to get started, let's take a quick look at the documentation. Again, use the documentation that's in the Word document and not that is posted on the web file. That's a little bit incomplete. This has been modified for SOLIDWORKS. So what I'm asking you to do here is to create technical documentation for the Automoblux folders, or for the Automoblux vehicles. So what I want you to do is I want you to do some dimensioned drawings with sectional views for the axle and bed, make a ballooned isometric view of each subassembly, and then a ballooned isometric view of the complete assembly with all the parts assembled together. So let's get started on this, and I'm just going to go ahead and produce the first drawing for you, which is going to be the axle and the bed. So let's work on that. So to do that, what I want to do is open up my T9 axle. And you're going to notice something on SOLIDWORKS when you go to open. I've already done that here. So if I go File, Open, you're going to notice that I've got a quick filter capacity down here in this lower right-hand corner. And I can filter for just parts. I can filter just for assemblies. I can filter just for drawings. And I can filter for top-level assemblies. So I'm going to go ahead and filter this for parts, because what I want to open up is the T9 axle. So we'll go down here, and I'm actually going to have to go to my desktop and locate my T9 Automoblux folder, which is where I put that, somewhere in here. Here it is. And here's my T9 axle. So I'll go ahead and open that file. If you do get this proceed with feature recognition, just click No on it. That's because it's an imported part and it's not made in SOLIDWORKS. It was actually made in a different CAD software. So SOLIDWORKS wants to identify features on it. So I'm just going to go No on that feature recognition. And what I want to do is go here and go File and make a drawing from a part. There is a drawing file that I've made already, so I don't really want to show you that just yet. We'll do that towards the end. So I'm going to select No here. I don't want to open that file. So I'm going to create a new drawing file. I'll again navigate to C, IED41 on your lab computer, and use the class template. Once I open up that class template, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to choose the front view, and I'm going to drag that in for my first view. And one of our exercises that we've been doing here is we have been doing extensive use of our sectional views, and this is a perfect piece for a sectional view, and I'll show you why here in just one moment. So we could dimension this overall part. You see it's quite detailed, so we're going to want a sectional view and we're going to want a couple detailed views. So let's get started first with our sectional view. To go to a sectional view, I go to my View Layout tab, upper left-hand corner, and I want Section View. I'm going to go ahead and do a horizontal section, and I want to cut this bad boy right about down the middle, just like that. And now once I do that cut, you can kind of see why a sectional view is very useful, because looking at this, you can't really tell where it's hollow and where it's solid. When you look at the section view, you can actually see that running along this ridge, this is all solid material, and then the ends have a plug cut out, a hollow cylindrical shaft, another hollow cylindrical shaft that reduces, and then the midpoint here is solid. It's an extrusion. Now we modeled this, but we modeled a fairly simple version of it. So one of the first things I want to do in this for an annotation, because I'm going to put quite a few dimensions into this, is I'm going to go ahead and put a center line into this. And I want to put a center line right down the middle of the axis. And you'll see how that center line appears. And to do that, what I chose was center line. I chose the upper boundary, the lower boundary, and my center line appears between. I can lengthen this center line, which I'm going to do. I'm going to drag it out all the way out to the edges, because I'm going to base all of my dimensions off of that center line. So let me just position this here real quick. bring my section view title down a little bit lower. A little too low. Okay. So as I come back in, I can choose dimensioning, and I'm going to use basically a ordinate dimensioning style, and I'll just use my Smart Dimension tool, and I'm going to start walking my way in. Now the first thing is this looks like it's a slope. It's actually a radius. So if I click on this line, you're going to see that it appears as a radius, and it's one continuous radius. So we'll go ahead and accept that radius. I want to change my document units and put it to 4 decimal places, because the dimensions are fairly small in this particular device. Now I want to start to dimension basically the radiuses of the revolve that made this item. So I'm going to start out and just work my way in from one edge. So my outer point is 1.487. You'll notice this is a radius, so I don't really need to do a dimension there, but I'm going to go ahead and got the wrong one there, sorry. And that occasionally will happen. There we go. I actually want to put this in as a distance, so let me try that again. I'm going to go from this line to my center line, and that should do it for this edge. I'm going to give a point for the start and the stop of this radius as well. You'll see why here in just a minute. I'm not going to worry too much about my alignment of my dimensions just yet. Well, like I said, I start and a stop of that radius so that I have a way to locate it. Okay, so there's my initial layout of my radiuses that form the right-hand side. I'm going to position this a little bit further over, a little more convenient, and you can see it's a pretty busy drawing here. Now, one thing you're going to notice is I want to dimension so that I go in to out. These will all line up reasonably close here. And that's pretty tough to identify. It just isn't an easy drawing here. And maybe we would want to do a second view of this. A lot of different techniques, and we're not going to get too crazy on this. I just want to show you the idea of dimensioning off of a sectional view. So I'm going to go from my center point to my first little knockout, my subsequent knockout, and then to that shaft position. So there I've got my dimensions. Now these two, I'm going to swap these two because it doesn't make sense the way that's laid out. Normally I wouldn't expect to see it like that. There to there to there. So now I've got all the radiuses to do a revolve on this particular item. And you're going to notice that this is a slope. Very difficult to dimension, so we're going to have to do a detailed view of that. What I haven't done is I haven't done the overall widths, but you'll notice that there's not a lot of value in dimensioning my sectional view widths, because I can do that on my other dimensions, or my other drawing. So I'll go ahead and slide this bad boy over here. And we still have some room for some detailed views. So let me put my dimensions for the layout of the widths of these features. And again, I'm going to do a datum dimensioning. So I'm referencing that left-hand side. Now we hadn't really talked about doing an ordinate dimension. We may sometime in the future here. And we're going to leave some of these other dimensions to the detailed view. I see, like, man, that's a mess. It's a lot of dimensions, a very complicated part that we're making here. And you notice that I didn't do any dimensioning here of this triangular points, because I'm going to do that in a detailed view here. There we go. And bring my sectional view down a little lower. So, pretty busy drawing right now. But let's go ahead and add a detail view here. And as you remember how to do that, what we're going to do is go to a View Layout, the View Layout tab, select the Detail View button, click on it, and now what we're going to do is come in here, and I want to do a detailed view that pretty much surrounds those 3 points. What I want to show is I want to show an angular relationship here between that line and then each one of these points, and they repeat. So I only really have to do one. So let's go ahead and do that. And I think it's probably best to put my angular relationship up top here to show that it's 175.24 degrees, odd, obtuse number there. And then I want to go the distance between each one of these serrations. And it's probably a little non-standard here, but we're going to go with it. There we go. And I'm going to move my detail view up, be up there. So now what I've done is I've done a detailed view of this complicated end portion here. I think we've got everything else pretty well done on this model. You'll see it's not really a great or an easy thing to dimension. And kind of that's the reason that I wanted you to do this and to think about it. One last thing we could really dimension would be this elevation is dimensioned actually at 0.1450 right there. That's a kind of a tough thing to dimension, to actually see that line. So we might want to put that in the detail view, but we'll leave that alone for now. So what we've done is we've created this axle with a section view to show the cutout, and then a detailed view of these serrations which hold the axle into the body. You'll notice that I didn't do the typical top, front, and right view because there's nothing really to be gained. But let me look at that real quick here just to give you a good idea of what that would look like. Is if I went and did a projected view, clicked on that tab, chose the model view and drug it out, you can see that I'd get a pretty meaningless drawing here. Very confusing, very difficult to use. So I'm going to get rid of that detail view. The last thing that I really should dimension here is I really should dimension the location of this hole. The tough part about it, though, is I've put this cutaway right here in the middle of it, so that would be an argument to do a different view, or perhaps for me to do another detail view. So let me go ahead and do that as an option. We'll drop this down in here. Going to be a pretty busy drawing when I'm done. And we'll go with that similar datum here. So what I'm going to actually do is put my center line in. And we will do the depth of this as well as the width of it. Slide that in here a little closer so it's not impeding on another drawing. That just shows my notch cut out here that it's on the center line of the object. Okay, I'm not in a smart dimension. There we go. There we go. So what I've done is a very busy drawing. Might want to add another sheet, but for this exercise I want you to go through the idea of making a couple of detailed views, sectional view, and then a front view. So that is the axle. Thanks for watching.